Don't change yourself just to make someone happy, unless that someone is you. There are no missed opportunities. Everything you missed simply wasn't meant for you. Trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. Learn to see people for who they are, not who you want them to be. The longer you dwell in the past, the less future you have to enjoy. It's better to admit you walked through the wrong door than to spend your life in the wrong room. Just because you miss someone doesn't mean you need them back in your life. Missing is part of getting over. Don't worry about those who talk behind your back. They're behind you for a reason. The bigger the ambition, the slower you need to go. Never brag about your progress or share your plans. Your friends today may become your worst enemies tomorrow. Make sure the choices you make are worth the losses you'll incur. Never sacrifice your progress for a friend. They might not do the same if the tables were turned. Sometimes you just need to be a bit selfish. Put yourself first and think about what's best for you. It's okay if you don't know how to move on. Start with something easier, like not going back. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. Close the window that hurts you, no matter how beautiful the view is. Sometimes you have to let go of people who keep reminding you of who you used to be. Forgive yourself for accepting less than you deserved, but don't do it again. If you're not willing to walk alone, you'll never lead your own path. Accept the things you cannot change, and change the things you cannot accept. Just because a decision hurts doesn't mean it was the wrong one. Your friends and family don't always know what's best for you. Every time you choose fear over action, you bury your potential deeper. A man who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his back on the crowd. Loneliness is the price you pay when you start to improve yourself. If you don't control your mind, someone else will. Life gets better when you let people lose you instead of begging them to choose you. If you want your dreams to become reality, don't keep them in your head. The faster you tackle the things you avoid, the faster you'll get the good things you want. You will never remember the days and nights you stayed home and did nothing. Your present circumstances don't determine where you can go. They merely determine where you start. If you want to win, you must first know what losing feels like. Sometimes things might seem to be falling apart, but actually, they're falling into place. Sometimes things end so better ones can begin. Action breeds more clarity than thought, so you can't think your way into a new life. You have to act your way into one. Sometimes you need to burn bridges to stop yourself from crossing them again. Characterize people by their actions, and you will never be fooled by their words. Most people stay in the same place for a reason. The things they hold dear are the anchors that keep them there. Your life isn't yours if you constantly care about what others think. Don't burn your opportunities for temporary comfort. People don't decide their future. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. A man without a vision for his future always returns to his past. The greatest challenge in life is discovering who you are. The second greatest is being happy with what you find. You think you know someone, but mostly, you just know what you want to know. If nothing else, some people just teach you how not to be. You can't make anyone love you, and you can't force yourself to love anyone else. Confidence doesn't come from an expectation of success. It comes from a comfort with failure. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same. We are the average of the people we spend time with, so surround yourself with good people to be a good person. Don't expect to see a change if you don't make one. People will walk in and out of your life, and those you least expect will become past remembrances of a temporary time you once thought was permanent. You train people how to treat you, consciously or not. The point of an argument isn't to defeat each other, but to understand each other. If it scares you, it might be a good thing to try. There are no bad emotions, only bad reactions to them. You have to learn how to channel your negative emotions constructively. People who show you new ways of thinking and seeing life are important. Your enemies will often tell you the truth because it hurts, and your friends will often lie because it doesn't. Develop a willingness to be disliked. This will grant you the freedom to do what needs to be done, even if it's unpopular. Be brave enough to say what you want to say, not what people want to hear. If someone's absence brings you peace, you won't lose anything. We often overestimate what we can do in a year, but underestimate what is possible in 5. Your past or childhood may be messy, but it's a great force in your future. If it's out of your hands, it deserves freedom from your mind too. Don't be afraid to start over again. This time, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. The more responsibility you take, the more you empower yourself to do something about that pain. Don't take people for granted. You never know when they could be gone. You never know how much they mean to you until they're gone. When someone shows you their true colors, don't try to paint a different picture. Hands that were on your shoulder during bad times are more valuable than the hands that clap for you in success. Forgiving doesn't make the person who hurt you feel better. It makes you feel better. Accept things as they are. Life isn't about living in the past or living for the future. It's about living in the now. People who play roles will eventually forget their lines. Pay attention. You are always responsible for how you act, no matter how you feel. Being honest may not get you a lot of friends, but it'll always get you the right ones. Learn to deal with people for who they are, not who you want them to be. Extraordinary results come from repeating ordinary actions over time. You can either choose a happy, conventional, stress-free life, or you can choose a very interesting but more difficult and meaningful life. A man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. When you blame someone else for your problems, you're giving them power over you. You're allowing them to define and dictate your happiness and well-being. People start hating you when they cannot control you. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know before you learned it. If you find yourself constantly trying to prove your worth to someone else, you've already forgotten your value. Leave when a promise turns into a sorry. You don't find your purpose somewhere else. You create your purpose exactly where you are, and you bring meaning to it. No single thing will solve all your problems. No goal, no achievement, no relationship. You will always feel mildly inadequate and somewhat dissatisfied with your life. A happy life isn't a life without stress. It's a life of meaningful stress. You won't forget some bad things. You just stop caring. Until that happens, don't stress too much about it. It's never too late to do the things you've always wanted to do. Don't let naysayers discourage you. They may be projecting their own insecurities. The more you love yourself, the more you'll detach from things that don't love you. Follow your heart, but take your brain with you. You can have results or excuses, not both. Growth happens when you start doing things you're not qualified to do. Be smart enough to ask for advice, but wise enough to know who to seek it from. Over time, the more wins with fear you can accumulate, the more fearless you will become. Never make someone a priority who only makes you an option. Whoever fights can lose. Whoever doesn't fight has already lost. The only way to feel better about yourself is to do things worth feeling good about. A lot of things broke your heart but fixed your vision. Never deny yourself an experience just because it's unknown or uncomfortable. It may just be a defining and wonderful part of your life. There will always be someone who can't see your worth. Don't let it be you. Your entire life can change in an instant, so instead of passively taking what you have for granted, be grateful for it and do whatever good you can with it. One of the most dangerous things you can do is believe someone's opinion about you. Your relationship with others is a direct reflection of your relationship with yourself. Your tomorrow can be very different from today if you try. Keep thinking about what isn't working today, and I promise you that your tomorrow won't either. It's not about having time, It's about making time. You can't always be nice. That's how people take advantage of you. Sometimes you have to set boundaries. Destroy the old you before it destroys you. Be selfish with your time. A lot of people don't deserve it. Never be so loyal that you betray yourself. You cannot have everything. You always exchange something for something. Weak people seek revenge. Strong people forgive. Intelligent people ignore. We are defined by what we give up, what we sacrifice, and what we reject. You are merely a reflection of the preferences and demands of the people around you. If you don't decide who you are, other people will decide for you. You grow as much as the amount of truth you're willing to accept about yourself without running away. There is always time. The only question is how long you will make excuses and pretend that it doesn't exist. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. The worst kind of enemy is the one who pretends to be your friend. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Do not discuss your past with anyone. Only you know its true story and significance. Others may not understand or even use it against you. Success and failure are fuzzy concepts that only exist in your mind before you do something, not after. The more grateful you are, the more beauty you will see all around you. The more generous life will seem, and the happier you will become. Sometimes you need to stop seeing the good in people and start seeing what they show you. If there's something you want to do in life, don't wait. If you do, you might find 5 years have passed without you doing anything. Most of your problems disappear once you start hanging out with smarter, more thoughtful people. Everything comes to you at the right time. Be patient and trust the process. You can't always help. Sometimes you will watch people you love make terrible decisions, despite the advice you give them. Envy is a waste of time. You already have all you need. Sometimes the world is trying to tell you who you are, but if you don't stop to reflect and listen, you'll never be able to hear. Enjoy every bit of your life to the fullest. Your compromises and sacrifices will be rewarded. An apology without change is just manipulation. You don't really know the person you're with until you move in together. Never marry anyone without living with them first. Hurting them back will not heal your pain. Someday you will look back and know exactly why it had to happen. You cannot control the behavior of others, but you can always choose how you respond to it. Stop having relationship problems with people you are not in relationships with. Once you lose someone, it is never exactly the same person who comes back. If you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done. If you say you'll do something, do it. Your word is one of the most valuable things you can cultivate, and if your word ever loses that value, it will be hard to get it back. Trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. You might not enjoy discipline, but you'll enjoy the results. You won't always be able to help someone change for the better. If you keep trying, there will come a day when you decide you can't do it anymore, and they clearly don't want to change. The cost of procrastination is the life you could have lived. Be careful who you share your weaknesses with. Some people can't wait for the opportunity to use them against you. In solitude, the mind gains strength and learns to lean upon itself. Sooner or later, a person who wears two faces forgets which one is real. What you allow is what will continue. Your true friends become apparent when you're at your lowest. Live life the way you want to live it, because even people who care for you can't be with you every step of the way. You're going to make a lot of people mad doing what's right for you. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. Potential means you haven't done anything yet. Maturing is realizing that overplaying your part in people's lives to prove your loyalty is only proving how much less you value yourself. Deal with people the way they deal with you. If you're lucky enough to get a second chance at something, don't waste it. Stop looking for happiness in the same place you lost it. There's a reason why some people are not in your life anymore. Honesty is a very expensive gift. Don't expect it from cheap people. Most people are only nice when things don't matter. Never be so kind that you forget to be clever, and never be so clever that you forget to be kind. You'll be alone in the most difficult times of your life. These times will make you wise, mature, and fearless. Some people only care about you if you're doing something for them. When you start seeing your worth, you'll find it harder to stay around people who don't. The truth is that maturing is realizing that a relationship can always work out and always be fixed, no matter the situation. One wrong step can change everything. Don't lie, don't cheat, be honest, and be loyal. Never take someone's feelings for granted. You never know how much courage it took for them to share them. If you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. Resentment is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. You can't really control someone's loyalty towards you. You can do so much for someone and still not be treated well. If you blame it on someone else, don't expect it to get better. One day, you'll have a clean, quiet house and a car with a spotless interior, and all you'll want is for the ones who made the mess to come home. Action proves who someone is. Words just prove who they pretend to be. Once you feel you are avoided by someone, never disturb them again. Be cautious with good deeds. Kindness has limits, and some may exploit your generosity. Your progress does not need to be seen or validated by others to be real. Expectation always hurts, so expect less or have no expectations from others. You'll ruin your life trying to make everyone happy. The only time you should look into someone else's bowl is to make sure they have enough. Given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kind. Don't take criticism from anyone you wouldn't take advice from. When you're working for someone else's dream, you sacrifice your own. A person who doesn't have a life of their own will always try to create drama in yours. You can't lose what you never had. You can't keep what's not yours, and you can't hold on to things that don't want to stay. Life always offers you a second chance. It's called tomorrow. Most people will deceive you if you give them at least half a chance. It's never too late to reinvent yourself. When you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all. Don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. The people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. Believe half of what you see and don't believe anything you hear. Never expect someone to catch you when you fall, even if you have caught many from falling. You can be friends with people for years, and it could take years to realize they were never your friends. All endings are also beginnings. We just don't know it at the time. Life may knock you down, but remember, you don't lose by falling. You lose by staying down. You may be the only person left who believes in you, but that's enough. Not everyone is meant to be in your future. Some people are just passing through to teach you lessons in life. No amount of success can compensate for failure at home. Your friends' problems become your problems. The smaller your social circle, the fewer problems you have. When you laugh, people laugh with you. When you cry alone. Overthinking ruins you. It twists things around, makes you worry about futile questions, and makes everything much worse than it actually is. Most people are a complete waste of time. A lesson never goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. Don't let people know too much about you. Just trust your instincts. Gut feelings can sometimes save you from big troubles. You don't get extra marks for putting up with people you dislike. Life is unfair. Don't moan. Don't complain. Learn to be thick-skinned and make the most of what you can. You don't have to be great to start, but to become great, you just have to start. The moment poverty walks in through the door, love and peace toss themselves out of the window. Don't be emotionally attached to anyone. People change. Even your best friends may turn into strangers one day. No one cares except you. Do what lifts you up in your eyes. What people say doesn't matter. think before you act. You can take a second to do something you haven't properly considered, and that isn't a true reflection of your character. It can undo a lifetime of kindness and generosity. Life gives you lemons, pepper, salt, and sometimes cold water, but they don't come together or in a certain order. So keep struggling until the lemonade is ready. If you can't do it now, you won't do it ever. Regretting won't change your past, and it will end up ruining your future if you continue to do that. Don't make hopes. Hopes will create expectations, and expectations make you weaker. Some people just won't admit they're wrong. Don't waste time trying to get them to accept it. Passion is super awesome, but it doesn't cure all your problems. Passion can go a long way in your life, but it doesn't mean it's all unicorns and rainbows. You are not unique. There will always be someone else equally attractive, fun, and qualified to replace you. Don't read a quote and say, "This is wise," but read a quote and say, "How can I relate this to my life?"